All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. So today we are talking all about the difference between difficult and effective when it comes to your training. Now, when it comes to your training for hiking, there is a big difference between something which feels difficult, tough, and it really gets you fried and cooked and tired, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, and something which is actually effective at improving your hiking. And for many hikers out there, they do have the potential to achieve much better results for the trail with much less effort in their training, which may seem a little bit backwards, but let me explain. Now, in the world of fitness, there really is, an obsession with difficult workouts, an obsession with working hard, an obsession of really pushing ourselves to the limit. And this is seen in our cardiovascular workouts. If you go into a gym, every gym in the world, well, not every gym in the world, most gyms in the world lean towards that high intensity stuff where you're doing your HIIT sessions, where you do lots of exercises. You work for 45 seconds and have 15 seconds off. Repeat that a bunch of time. Really jack up the heart rate and just string together a bunch of exercises to get you huffed and puffed and get you tired. And that's something that's really popular in the fitness world to improve your cardio. And on the strength side of things, we see it in the workouts where we might do 4 or 5 or 6 different exercises on a certain muscle group. You might go in and say, hey, I'm doing chest day today, or hey, I'm doing arms today, or hey, I'm doing back today, or whatever it may be. Or maybe I'm just doing quads today, or whatever. And we see it in these strength workouts where you just do a bunch of exercises, just really push through things, get super sore. And these types of workouts, it can be fun, it can be enjoyable, it can move you forward. But in all honesty, you can be just as, if not more effective with your training for your hiking with so much less effort if you just put a little bit more thought behind it and a little bit more structure behind it. So now we use 2 workouts as an example here, and we're going to be talking about the cardio side of things. And I'm going to be talking through one workout, which is something which, is a pretty similar thing you might get in a typical fitness environment, typical gym. Maybe you're working with a personal trainer and they really want to push you hard. Maybe you're doing a circuit class or whatever it may be. And one workout which you'll see in, similar things in lots and lots of gyms. And one workout that we, use quite a bit through Summit Strength. Now, workout number 1 is the one you'll see in a lot of gyms, and not this exact workout, but this kind of style. And for this particular example, this is how it's going to run. You're going to get on a stationary bike. You're going to go for 30 seconds super quick, proper sprint for 30 seconds. Then you're going to hop off that bike. You're going to rest for 15 seconds, so catch your breath for 15 seconds. Then you go on the battle ropes for 30 seconds. And if you haven't seen the battle ropes, they're those big, long ropes which you get your arms and you go up and down with. And you do that for 30 seconds, super quick. Then you're going to rest for 10 seconds. Then you get on the bike, do that for 30 seconds. Rest, battle ropes, 30 seconds. And you're going to do that a total of 10 times. So bike, rest, ropes, rest, repeat. Now, the duration of this workout, it'll take just under 15 minutes to get through. Now, on the other side of things, workout number 2, what I want to describe, is one we use through Summit Strength quite a bit, and we sort of we talk about this on the podcast loads. And this one's doing some slightly longer extended intervals. So for this one, again, you're going to be on the stationary bike. But for this time, you're going to go 2.5 minutes. And you're going to go as quick as you can sustain for those 2.5 minutes. So it might not be quite as quick as if you were sprinting for 30 seconds like in the previous one, but it's still going to be quick. So by the end of the 2.5 minutes, you're a bit out of breath. Then you're going to have complete rest for 1.5 minutes. And you can either just sit around, you can sort of gently cycle, or whatever it may be. And you repeat that 4 times. And for this workout, the duration, again, is just going to be about 15 minutes. So essentially, you're doing similar time of duration, but slightly different workouts. Now, if you try each of these workouts out, you will notice that workout number 1 is substantially more difficult. It'll take a huge amount of mental grit to get through. It will make you feel pretty gross and pretty sick. And at the end, if you have done it right, you're probably going to be lying in a heap in your own sweat. It is a tough workout if you do it right. And in all honesty, you're probably not going to do it by yourself. You probably do need someone standing over you, like a personal trainer, to kind of yell at you and encourage you to get you through it. And it's going to be an ordeal. Now, if you do workout number 2, it's still probably going to be difficult. It's still going to take a bit of concentration and determination. And you will still finish feeling tired. But compared to workout number 1, you're going to be feeling much, much, much better at the end of it. You're probably not going to be lying in that heap of your own sweat. You're probably not going to feel like you want to vomit. You're probably, going to feel like, that was tough, but I'm kind of ready to do something else after this. And if you're looking at the typical gym environment, if you're looking at those 2 workouts, most people are going to gravitate towards workout number 1 because it's tough. It looks tough. It feels tough. You feel gross. And, a lot of people glorify this because they're like, if it feels tough, it must be good for me. If it feels tough, it must be improving my fitness. If it feels tough, it must be improving my strength. And if they tried workout number 2 in a typical fitness environment, they'd be like, you know what? That was a bit dull. Or maybe that was a bit of a waste of time. And yeah, it was tough, but I've worked so much harder in the past. But if we're looking at the world of hiking, as much as workout number 1 is way, 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 way more difficult, in the world of hiking, workout number 2 is going to be way, way, way more effective for your hiking, more effective at improving your performance, improving your comfort for the actual trail, which may seem a little bit backwards initially because you're like, wow, that works so much harder in the other one. Why isn't it more effective? But that's because workout number 2 has a lot more thought behind it. So when we're looking at the demands of hiking and what we actually need to prepare the body for when it comes to hiking, it's very, very, very rare that we need to get the body ready for this super excruciating high intensity exercise. It's very, very, very rare that we get to that stage on the trail where we're absolutely redlining it, where we're on this ascent and, we're going 95% of our max heart rate, or we're doing a 30 seconds, all out and then having a rest. It's just not hiking. Maybe in worst case scenario, if we're absolutely cooked to the limit, we may get to that, but it's very, very, very rare. Usually our hiking is created from long periods of sustained exercise with shorter periods of anywhere from 2 to 10 to maybe 30 minutes of sort of more moderately difficult exercise when you're doing a big climb or a descent. There may be an hour or 2 if you're doing a mountain or whatever it may be, but that's usually what hiking is made up with. So to best get ready for hiking, we want to be developing our cardiovascular systems to be able to sustain exercise for longer periods of time. And we want to be developing our muscles to be able to sustain force for long periods of time. And that's exactly what we're doing in workout number 2. The way this workout has been created is to target a really, really particular aspect of your energy system development, which is basically the ability of your body to produce energy in different circumstances. And this particular workout is developing the body of your ability to rely on the aerobic energy system, which is the energy system we want to be using while we're hiking. It's sort of more higher intensity situations. And it takes a while for it to develop, but that's kind of what we're trying to develop. And on top of that, with the muscles, you'll notice if you're trying to go quick for 2.5 minutes, the muscles get burny pretty quickly. So we are developing muscular endurance through the legs, through the quads, in order to sustain higher outputs for long periods of time. And that's really what we're aiming for with this particular type of workout. Now, workout number 1, it may feel really, really, really hard, but what it is developing is what's known as your anaerobic energy system, which is basically the ability of your body to produce energy without really using oxygen. When we're doing super high intensity stuff, the body can't keep up with the oxygen demands. So it produces energy in other ways. And it probably will, workout number 1, probably will burn a lot more calories because that's a metric a lot of people use to judge their workouts in the fitness industry. It probably will have a higher heart rate sustained, which is a metric a lot of people use in the fitness industry. But when we break it down, workout number 2 is much, 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 much more effective for your hiking, even if it's much less effort. And we see this, this is just one example, but we see this all the time in the world of training. As I was sort of saying before, with the strength training, sometimes people will go into these workouts and they'll be sort of do, 5 or 6 exercises on one single muscle group. but you can probably get just as good results from doing probably 2 or 3 exercises. Or maybe people are going in and just doing heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of difficult exercises. They're doing jump squats. They're doing, the heavy squats. They're doing this and that. And they're just absolutely cooking out and burning out their muscles, pushing to failure, when in all honesty, you could probably get just as good results from a program which is a bit more structured, but working much less. And I could go on all day about this. And I could go in a million different examples, but I want to really hammer home the point. There is a big difference between effective and difficult. So now that you've kind of sort of hammered home that point, and you're probably, you're probably hopefully making sense, I want to give you a few guidelines around how to actually judge if a workout is kind of effective. It can be difficult or it might not, but we want to be able to judge if it is effective. And there's a few really, really, really simple ways of doing this. First and foremost, you just kind of reverse engineer the workout. Like, what are you trying to achieve with this workout? Just ask yourself, if you're just trying to achieve general fitness, if you're just trying to burn calories, if you're just trying to fit in sort of a little bit of workout in amongst your day to give you those endorphins or whatever it may be, you can do literally anything. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be thinking about this. Just go out and do what feels good to you. And that's absolutely fine. But if you're literally trying to improve your hiking, if that's the aim of the game with your training, or maybe even more so, maybe you're trying to improve a specific aspect of your hiking, just think, is what I'm doing here, is it lining up with that outcome? So that's number one. Number two, ask yourself, is there a way for me to track my progress with this workout? Now, what I mean by that is the best improvements in training in fitness is from the application of a particular workout multiple times, and over time, progressively making it more difficult, progressively pushing yourself a little bit further. Now, in the workout number one example, when we're doing that really, really high intensity stuff, we're just going to the max for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, or 15 on, 45 on, 15 off, or whatever. It's a bit difficult to track your progress. It can be done, but it is difficult because if you're already working maximum, unless you're counting all the reps you do every single set, or unless you're sort of, judging your workout, whatever it may be, it can be a little bit tricky to sort of know week by week, am I improving? Because I'm working to the fullest of my abilities every single week. I don't actually know. Again, it can be done, but it's a bit tricky. But on workout number two, it's really, really, really obvious if you're improving or not. Because each week you can literally sort of say, okay, in those 2.5 minutes, how much distance have I done? Or what type of RPM did I sustain? Or what resistance did I use the bike on? That's such a simple way, but so many people miss it. Just being able to track your workouts as you're going forward, that is a simple way of identifying, is this going to be super effective for me? And then number three, it's pretty much the same thing. Can this progress over time? As I sort of said, the best results come from making things harder and harder and harder over time. Is this possible to make this more difficult over time? And if so, then that potentially can be effective. And, we can get a lot more technical than that, but in all honesty, without having to know too much about exercise science, without having to know too much about workout design or whatever it may be, those three things. The quick thing, is it in line with my goals? Does it kind of seem like it's reverse engineered from what I'm actually trying to achieve? Number two, can I actually track what's going on week by week? And number three, that goes hand in hand with that, can I progress it week by week? And am I progressing it week by week? Three really, really simple things, but it can make a big, big difference to that. So essentially, if I haven't hammered home the point enough today, there is a big difference between effective exercise and difficult exercise. If you're just training for general fitness, if you're just training to burn calories, if you're just training to kind of give yourself energy and feel good, you can do anything. It doesn't matter. Do difficult, do easy, whatever you enjoy. That's absolutely fine. But if you are actively trying to improve your hiking, sometimes you may want to put a little bit more thought into it. Because if you do put a little bit more thought, there is the potential to see much, much, much better results with much, much, much less effort. And isn't that the dream? And if you are interested in exploring this type of training, of getting some insight from a professional, from a specialist who can tell you how to see the best results of your hiking with the least amount of time and effort, well, that's exactly what we do. And if you do want to learn a bit about what we do, our training, what we offer for hikers, and how we go about things, then what you can do is go to summitstrength.com.au/online. You're going to have a read or have a watch of a video which talks through one of our programs and sort of how we go about things there. So if you did want to check it out, it's summitstrength.com.au/online. I think that will probably do me for this morning. I hope this has made sense. I hope it's given a bit of insight to a few people, and maybe potentially it's raised a few question marks in, what you may be doing. And really do hope it kind of helps a few hikers to see some really much better results for their hiking, and maybe just take a little bit of stress and a little bit of effort away from their lives if they're in that trap of working super, 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 super hard with their workouts. So hope that makes sense. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a lovely day, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.